While many animals still face the threat of extinction, there are several remarkable success stories where conservation efforts have helped species recover from the brink. Here's a list of animals that were once nearly extinct and whose populations have since rebounded. Giant panda, or Ailuropida melanoleuca. The giant panda is one of the most inspiring conservation success stories globally, having recovered from the brink of extinction thanks to massive collective efforts. Previously, pandas faced serious threats from habitat loss and fragmentation, particularly the deforestation of bamboo forests, which are their primary food source. Additionally, their naturally low reproduction rate and the threat of poaching further exacerbated their population decline. However, a series of coordinated conservation actions, primarily led by the Chinese government with support from international organizations like WWF, successfully reversed this trend. These efforts included habitat protection and expansion through the establishment of extensive nature reserves and national parks, large-scale bamboo reforestation programs, and strict enforcement of anti-poaching laws. Sophisticated captive breeding and reintroduction programs in zoos and conservation centers also played a crucial role in increasing the number of individual pandas, with some even successfully released back into the wild. Global education and public awareness campaigns garnered financial and moral support. Thanks to these efforts, in 2016, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, downlisted the giant panda's conservation status from endangered to vulnerable, a monumental achievement demonstrating that with commitment and hard work, species on the verge of extinction can be saved. Bald eagle, or Haliaeetus leucocephalus. The bald eagle, a national symbol of the United States, faced a severe threat of extinction but has remarkably recovered thanks to intensive conservation efforts. Its drastic population decline in the mid-20th century was largely due to the widespread use of the pesticide DDT, which caused their eggshells to become fragile and fail to hatch. Furthermore, aggressive hunting and persecution, as well as habitat loss from development, also contributed to their dwindling numbers. By 1963, only about 417 nesting pairs remained in the lower 48 U.S. states. However, the bald eagle's recovery is one of the greatest success stories in conservation. A crucial step was the ban on DDT in 1972, which allowed eagles to lay eggs with strong, normal shells again. Coupled with legal protection through acts like the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act of 1940 and the Endangered Species Act, ESA, of 1973, the eagle received robust safeguarding. Reintroduction programs from more stable populations and effective habitat management also played vital roles. Thanks to these collective efforts, the bald eagle population rapidly increased to over 9,789 nesting pairs by 2007, allowing them to be removed from the endangered species list under the ESA. The bald eagle's story is tangible proof that effective conservation can bring a species back from the brink of extinction. Humpback whale, or Megaptera novianglii. The humpback whale, an iconic ocean giant, was once nearly driven to extinction by massive commercial whaling in the 19th and early 20th centuries. They were hunted for their oil, meat, and baleen, with increasingly sophisticated whaling technology and predictable migration patterns making them easy targets. Consequently, their populations plummeted to just a few thousand individuals by the 1960s, leading to their classification as a globally endangered species. However, thanks to tenacious international conservation efforts, humpback whales have made a remarkable recovery. The most crucial step was the global moratorium on commercial whaling, enacted by the International Whaling Commission, IWC, in 1986. This protection was further strengthened by national and international laws and the establishment of marine protected areas in critical whale habitats. Scientific research and increased public awareness also contributed to their recovery. As a result, in 2016, most humpback whale populations were removed from the U.S. endangered species list, and their global status was downlisted to least concern in some regions. The humpback whale story is clear proof of successful global cooperation in protecting marine biodiversity. Arabian Oryx, or Oryx leucoryx. The Arabian Oryx, an elegant desert antelope, is one of the most successful species recovery stories. It was once declared extinct in the wild in 1972. The The drastic decline in their population was due to excessive hunting using motor vehicles and modern firearms for their meat, hide, and especially their horns. Furthermore, habitat loss due to human expansion and dwindling water availability in the desert also contributed to their extinction in the wild. However, the Arabian Oryx made a remarkable comeback thanks to a pioneering conservation program called Operation Oryx. Beginning in the 1960s, a few remaining oryx individuals were captured and brought together to form the world herd at the Phoenix Zoo, USA, becoming the core of a meticulous captive breeding program. Once the captive population grew, reintroduction into the wild began in 1982 in Oman, followed by other Arabian countries. These efforts were supported by habitat protection through the establishment of protected areas and strict anti-poaching enforcement. Thanks to international cooperation and dedication, in 2011, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, changed the Arabian Oryx's conservation status from extinct in the wild to vulnerable, a historic achievement. Today, over 1,200 Arabian Oryx live in the wild, proving that even the most critically endangered species can be saved. Przewalski's horse, or Equus ferus przewalski. Przewalski's horse, the only true wild horse subspecies remaining, faced a tragic fate, being declared extinct in the wild in the 1960s. Their population decline was caused by wild hunting, habitat loss and fragmentation due to agricultural expansion, competition with domestic livestock for food and water, and interbreeding that diluted their pure genes. At its lowest point, only about 12 to 15 individuals remained in zoos worldwide, becoming the ancestors of the entire modern population. However, Przewalski's horse successfully recovered thanks to a monumental conservation program. These efforts began with coordinated captive breeding programs since the 1950s, where zoos worldwide collaborated to breed the remaining horses, supported by the establishment of a global stud book to maintain genetic diversity. Most crucially, the reintroduction of horses raised in captivity back into their native habitats in Mongolia, China, and Kazakhstan began in the early 1990s. Habitat protection and environmental management also played important roles in this success. Thanks to these extraordinary efforts, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, changed the conservation status of Przewalski's horse from extinct in the wild to vulnerable in 2011. Today, an estimated over 2,000 individuals exist worldwide, with growing wild populations, making their story strong evidence of successful conservation. American bison or bison. The American bison, the largest terrestrial mammal in North America, experienced a dramatic population decline from millions of individuals to near extinction by the late 19th century. The primary cause was mass and commercial hunting, driven by the expansion of railway lines and market demand for hides, meat, and even for sport. This hunting was also intentionally used as a strategy to weaken Native American tribes who heavily relied on the bison. Additionally, habitat loss due to agricultural expansion and human settlement further exacerbated their condition. By January 1, 1889, an estimated 456 purebred bison remained in the United States. However, the bison story transformed into an extraordinary conservation success. Thanks to the tenacious efforts of early conservationists, such as Theodore Roosevelt, who founded the American Bison Society in 1905, recovery programs were initiated. The establishment of federal wildlife refuges like the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge and the protection of small herds in Yellowstone National Park became crucial strongholds. Through captive breeding and reintroduction programs, the remaining bison were bred and released back into protected natural habitats. Today, the American bison population has significantly recovered, with an estimated over 500,000 individuals in North America, mostly on private lands and in reserves. The American bison is now a symbol of resilience and recovery, playing vital ecological and cultural roles. Sea otter or Anhydra lutris. The sea otter, a charismatic furry marine mammal, was once on the brink of extinction due to massive commercial hunting in the 18th and 19th centuries. Their incredibly valuable fur fueled unlimited exploitation, compounded by their slow reproduction rate. Consequently, for millions of individuals, their population drastically shrunk to only about 1,000 to 2,000 individuals by the early 20th century, even considered extinct in many areas. However, the sea otter's recovery is one of the most prominent marine conservation success stories, primarily thanks to legal protection. The International First Seal Treaty of 1911, and especially the Marine Mammal Protection Act, MMPA, of 1972 in the U.S. and the Endangered Species Act, ESA, of 1973 prohibited hunting and provided comprehensive protection. These efforts were complemented by habitat management and conservation, particularly the protection of kelp forests, which are their key ecosystems. Thanks to these measures, sea otter populations have significantly recovered in most of their historical ranges, now numbering over 100,000 individuals. Although they still face challenges such as disease and prey availability, their story proves that legal protection and ecological understanding can save species from extinction. These recovery stories confirm that with global commitment, strong legal protection, and innovation in conservation practices, even the most vulnerable species have hope of rebounding. This is a powerful reminder of our crucial role in preserving the planet's biodiversity for future generations. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.